You tried parking your truck around 8 p.m. lately? It's a madhouse. So what's the real solution to the truck parking problem today?
To share news stories with our audience, head over to our Facebook group, That's Truckin', or email us today, that's truckinnews@outlook.com.
How do you hope truck jams? The numbers keep changing, but the truck parking problem doesn't. So what's the real solution to the truck parking problem today? Well, is it me, or is it a lot easier than we think? I'd like to see if you agree. Or do you think that's trucking?
It is estimated that for every 11 trucks on the road, there's only one parking spot available. And that leaves truck drivers scrambling at the end of their shift to find anywhere to pull over and rest.
There are a lot of truck stops and rest areas, but this is still not enough space for the truck drivers.
You run out of time, there's nowhere to park, and everywhere you go, there's no truck parking signs.
Regulators tell Queen City News they recognize the challenge truck drivers face when it comes to parking. One truck driver mentioned as a suggestion is requiring these truck stops that draw all the drivers in to offer more parking spots to begin with.
With the Biden administration's recent push to put $755 million into the parking problem, I'd like to know, is that enough money? Is that the right answer? Or is there something else we're overlooking? Well, let's look at the numbers. It's estimated that we spend on average about 1 to 2 hours every day of what we have available just finding a place to park at night. When you try putting 5 pounds of crap into a 2-pound bag, you run out of room. There's yet even more interesting numbers to look at. Economists say decline in wages in the trucking industry can be traced back to deregulation. Why do I mention deregulation? Because it's similar to the problem we currently have. About 4 years ago, we had a great number of drivers. The Biden administration put through an action plan which opened up the trucking industry to millions more.
Right now, the industry estimates that we're short 80,000 truck drivers. And my department estimates that 300,000 leave the career every year.
And 2021 was the best year for trucking employment since 1994. That's why last December, we brought together industry and labor to tackle the problem facing drivers. That there were long wait times in many states for people to get their commercial driver's license, their CDLs. We took action, $57 million in federal funds to help states issue these CDLs faster. So far in 2022, we're issuing CDLs at double the rate of last year.
These actions are going to help us recruit more drivers and, just as importantly, retain them.
It's abundantly obvious that no matter how much money you throw at a problem, no matter what changes in rules and regulations you put out there to fight a problem that exists, you can't fix what we have today. As of 2019, there are statistics that say there were nearly 11 million licensed drivers that held a CDL in the United States. There's also statistics that say there were over 845,000 licensed trucking businesses in the United States. As of June 2022, there were nearly 2 million registered trucking businesses in the U.S. Last statistics placing the total parking spaces at nearly 313,000 nationwide. What can the numbers tell us about the real solution? The efforts by this administration to tackle a shortage that really never existed in the first place, while it didn't directly cause the problem we're talking about in this video, it didn't help either. This problem we're experiencing with the trucking industry right now is akin to what happened with the taxi industry about 10 years ago. For the longest time in New York City, you couldn't buy a taxi medallion. They were purposely inflated and made almost impossible to get because the local governments in the area determined there's too many taxis on the road. Just like the problem in New York City with the taxis, the trucking industry is going through a cycle very similar right now. And a lot similar to the solution, the parking problem we currently face will only fix itself. In the meantime, realize that it's foolish to put 10 truck drivers in one parking lot with one spot left and expect a good result. Personally, the best thing we can do is just be mindful of the shifts we drive and schedule our loads accordingly. Aside from that, there's only one other choice. You know, trucking is serious business. It always has been. People in these seats move lives. People in these trucks can start or end a life in seconds. It's time as an industry that we shifted our goals, lifted up the standards for the requirements, and started to look like we want to move this stuff and want a serious business. You know, right now, trucks can't drive themselves. They're trying to. Until that changes, remember, without trucks, you get it yourself. Until Terminator D-Day, remember, that's trucking.